42 questions. How far can you get? Let's go! Question 1. Which decade released Michael Jackson's Thriller? Is it 1990s, 1980s, or 1970s? Option B, 1980s. It was released in 1982. Question 2. Which decade saw the Beatles release Hey Jude? 1970s, 1960s, 1950s. Lock it in. Option B, 1960s. It came out in 1968. Question 3. Which decade made Elvis famous with Hound Dog? 1960s, 1940s, or 1950s? Option C, 1950s. It was a hit in 1956. Question 4. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen is from which decade? Is it 1970s, 1960s, or 1980s? Option A, 1970s. It was released in 1975. Question 5. Which decade launched Madonna with Like a Virgin? 1980s, 1970s, 1990s. Lock it in. Option A, 1980s. It dropped in 1984. Question 6. Which decade released Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You? 1980s, 1990s, or 2000s? Option B, 1990s. The hit was from 1992. Question 7. Which decade gave us Spice Girls Wannabe? Is it 1990s, 1980s, or 2000s? Option A, 1990s. It was a 1996 hit. Level 2. Level 2, build. Still perfect? Tell me in the comments. Question 8. Which decade released Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd? 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. Lock it in. Option B, 1970s. It was released in 1973. Question 9. Which decade saw Led Zeppelin release Stairway to Heaven? 1970s, 1980s, or 1960s? Option A, 1970s. It appeared on 1971 album. Question 10. Which decade released ABBA's Dancing Queen? Is it 1980s, 1970s, or 1960s? Option B, 1970s. It was a 1976 hit. Question 11. Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit is from which decade? 1990s, 2000s, 1980s. Lock it in. Option A, 1990s. It was released in 1991. Question 12. Which decade released Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way? 1990s, 2000s, or 1980s? Option A, 1990s. It was a 1999 hit. Question 13. Which decade saw Celine Dion release My Heart Will Go On? Is it 1980s, 2000s, or 1990s? Option C, 1990s. It accompanied the 1997 film. Question 14. Which decade released Britney Spears' Baby One More Time? 1990s, 2000s, 1980s. Lock it in. Option A, 1990s. It was released in 1998. That was a tough one. Got it? Most people didn't. Missed it? That's one life. Quick fact, it became one of the best-selling singles ever. Level 3. Level 3, The Twist. Still perfect? Tell me in the comments. Question 15. Which decade released Bon Jovi's Livin' on a Prayer? 1990s, 1970s, or 1980s? Option C, 1980s. It hit big in 1986. Question 16. Which decade released Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child O' Mine? Is it 1980s, 1990s, or 1970s? Option A, 1980s. It was released in 1987. Question 17. Which decade saw Survivor release Eye of the Tiger? 1990s, 1980s, 1970s. Lock it in! Option B, 1980s. It powered Rocky III in 1982. Question 18. Which decade released TLC's No Scrubs? 1990s, 1980s, or 2000s? Option A, 1990s. It was a 1999 hit. Question 19. Which decade released Radiohead's Creep? Is it 2000s, 1990s, or 1980s? Option B, 1990s. It was released in 1992. Question 20. Which decade released Eminem's The Real Slim Shady? 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. Lock it in. Option C, 2000s. It came out in 2000. That was a tough one. Got it? Most people didn't. Missed it? That's one life. Quick fact, it popularized the phrase "my name is" in rap. Question 21. Which decade released Destiny's Child Say My Name? 1980s, 2000s, or 1990s? Option C, 1990s. It was a 1999 hit. That's halfway. How's your score holding up? Quick fact, it won the group their first Grammy Award. Level 4, Speed Round. Ready? Go! Question 22. Usher, yeah decade? Is it 1990s, 2000s, or 2010s? Option B, 2000s. It dominated charts in 2004. Question 23. Decade of Crazy by Gnarls Barkley? 2000s, 2010s, 1990s. Lock it in. Option A, 2000s. It was released in 2006. Question 24. Poker Face by Lady Gaga. Decade? 1990s, 2000s, or 2010s? Option B, 2000s. It exploded in 2008. Question 25. Viva La Vida by Coldplay. Decade? Is it 2000s, 2010s, or 1990s? Option A, 2000s. It was released in 2008. Quick fact, the title translates as Long Live Life in Spanish. Question 26. Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. Decade? 1990s, 2010s, 2000s. Lock it in. Option C, 2000s. It dropped in 2009. Question 27. Firework by Katy Perry. Decade? 1990s, 2010s, or 2000s? Option B, 2010s. It was released in 2010. Question 28. Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. Decade? Is it 2000s, 1990s, or 2010s? Option C, 2010s. It was a 2012 hit. Level 5. Expert. Still perfect? Tell me in the comments. Question 29. Which decade released Daft Punk Get Lucky? 2020s, 2000s, 2010s. Lock it in. Option C, 2010s. It was released in 2013. Question 30. Which decade released Royals by Lorde? 2000s, 2010s, or 2020s? Option B, 2010s. It broke through in 2013. Question 31. Which decade released Happy by Pharrell Williams? Is it 2000s, 2010s, or 2020s? Option B, 2010s. It was a 2013 worldwide hit. Quick fact, it spent 10 weeks at #1 in the US. Question 32. Which decade released Old Town Road by Lil Nas X? 2010s, 2000s, 2020s. Lock it in. Option A, 2010s. It was released in 2019. That was a tough one. Got it? Most people didn't. Missed it? That's one life. Quick fact, it became the longest running #1 in Billboard history. Question 33. Which decade released Shape of You by Ed Sheeran? 2010s, 2020s, or 2000s? Option A, 2010s. It was released in 2017. Question 34. Which decade released Rolling in the Deep by Adele? Is it 2000s, 2020s, or 2010s? Option C, 2010s. It was released in 2010. Question 35. Which decade released Mr. Brightside by The Killers? 2010s, 1990s, 2000s. Lock it in. Option C, 2000s. It was released in 2003. Level 6. Level 6, the final level. Still perfect? Tell me in the comments. Question 36. Which decade released Blinding Lights by The Weeknd? 2010s, 2020s, or 2000s? Option A, 2010s. It was released in 2019. Quick fact, it became the longest charting song in Billboard history. Question 37. Which decade first released Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush? Is it 1980s, 1990s, or 1970s? Option A, 1980s. It was released in 1985. 5 left. This is where most people fall. Quick fact, it returned to charts after featuring in Stranger Things. Question 38. Which decade released Window Licker by Aphex Twin? 1980s, 2000s, 1990s. Lock it in. Option C, 1990s. It dropped as a 1999 single. Quick fact, its music video features surreal digital face morphing. Question 39. Which decade released Geo Gaddy by Boards of Canada? 2000s, 1990s, or 2010s? Option A, 2000s. It was released in 2002. Quick fact, the album contains hidden messages and occult references. Question 40. Which decade released The Less I Know The Better by Tame Impala? Is it 2020s, 2010s, or 2000s? Option B, 2010s. It appeared on 2015 album. Quick fact, it became a surprise TikTok hit years after release. Question 41. Which decade released Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo? 2010s, 2020s, 2000s. Lock it in. Option B, 2020s. It was released in 2021. One more after this. Make it count. Question 42. Which decade released Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift? 2020s, 2000s, or 2010s? Option A, 2020s. It was released in 2022. Quick fact, it broke multiple streaming records on day of release. That's all 42 questions. You had 3 chances to fall. How many did you take? Comment your number. Like and subscribe for more quiz challenges.